Will Geno Smith lead us to the promised land? That is going to be a great story to follow. And when we talk about this for the New York Jets in their mock draft, they are going to still have to add at the quarterback position. I think it's more of a day three type of need for them. And that's what I would love to go get one of those Nussmeier, Carson Beck, Drew Allers in that fourth round range. And I think that would make a lot of sense for this football team. And that gives you options going into the 2027 draft. Running back, Brees Hall playing on the tag. If they're going to trade him, then this becomes more of an earlier priority. But as of right now, this is like a day three type of pick that they can go add some depth at the end of the draft behind Braylon Allen and Brees Hall and Isaiah Davis. Wide receiver, this is a need. This is an area that they have to address in the draft and use one of their early picks on. They have Garrett Wilson, Adonai Mitchell, I think could be a really good third option. Isaiah Williams, great special teams and everything, and he can contribute as a receiver too, but they do need to add here, and that would be a big priority. Tight end, just could use some veteran depth, in my opinion. They could draft somebody later on if they choose to do that / pick up some UDFAs, but they're in a pretty good spot here. Offensive line, their starting five is set. They have a very, very good offensive line and certainly one of the best Jets offensive lines that I've seen in a minute. Now, they do need some depth here, and the interior especially needs some depth. So we've got to address that, whether that's possibly even a round two pick for them or maybe more likely a round four, round five type of pick to get some help, get some depth on the interior. That is certainly something we need to improve upon in the offseason. Then on to the defense here, which is transitioning more of a 3-4 defense. And that factors in with guys like Joseph Osai, Kingsley Enagbare coming in, Will McDonald. Now you got to make some determinations and for the future. Enagbare only on a one-year contract. Will they pay Will McDonald? Those are all big things that they have to consider. And that is why I suspect that they're going to draft somebody at the number 2 overall pick off the edge. It makes total sense to be that 4 rotation right there. Interior, they're going to need more bodies here running a 3-4 defense. You figure Tavondre Sweat's going to hold up that nose tackle. They could still use another guy in here, especially to get after the quarterback more consistently. Briggs can certainly do that. However, that is something like Animana on a 1-year contract, Phillips on a 1-year contract. We need to add another player in here, and I could certainly see them using one of those top picks on a defensive tackle. We go on to the inside linebacker position, and this is another area that they could. And if I had to take a look at it between corner and inside linebacker, I suspect that they'll use that other second round pick on one of these players out here / first round pick, depending on how the board goes. But inside linebacker to me is a great value with one of their second round picks. There's a lot of really, really good linebackers. Jamian Sherwood, Demario Davis, they'll figure to be your starters day one. Long term, though, wise, Sherwood, I suspect they're going to try to move off of his contract at some point. He played a little up and down, so that is an area that I think that they could upgrade from in this draft in a very good linebacking class. Corner, you got A.Z. Thomas, you got Brandon Stevens, and Nashawn Wright to be your 3 rotational outside cornerbacks. You have Stiggers in there too. And then at slot corner, you got Jarvis Brownlee Jr., who's under contract for the next couple of years. You got Clark, you got Womack, who can rotate in there in the slot as well. They could upgrade right there in the slot and at least add some more competition. For right now, though, I would say it's either a late second rounder or a early day 3 type of selection that they could add some depth in there. Safety, they should be in a pretty good spot here. You got Andre Sisco, Minka Fitzpatrick on a 3-year contract, Malachi Moore. You have Dane Belton, who they also brought in. They're in a decent spot. It's not an elite group. Could they upgrade? Absolutely. But generally speaking, with where they're at, I think they're in a pretty good spot of having a good veteran leadership with some young guys in there as well that they could give long-term extensions to. And then special teams-wise, an area that we could at least bring in some more competition in training camp. But this is not something that I think they need to spend any real draft picks on as of the moment. And then it is draft time for the New York Jets, and we are starting with Arvell Reese from the Ohio State University, the edge rusher, now converted to edge rusher. He has a lot of upside. If you want to go for more of the floor guy, somebody that comes in right away and should be an immediate impact, I think that's Ruben Bain. Really good player, and that's probably what I would do if I was actually drafting. However, I understand in Glenn's defense, I think Reese is a really, really good fit. I also think Bain would be fine too, but Reese fits a big hole off the edge for them, and he certainly can play across the defensive line as well with his strength profile. He did it for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Then we go on to their 16th pick. We're taking Jordan Tyson here. They could really use another weapon in with Garrett Wilson. He fits the bill there. Him and Garrett Wilson, you do have to worry about the injury situation and the risk there, but the value and the upside of getting Jordan Tyson at 16 makes too much sense and what he could bring to their offense. His route running ability, he literally kind of has a little bit of Justin Jefferson type of vibes and look to his game. I'm not saying he's going to be that type of player, but he certainly has that in his game as a route runner with his size and combination of speed and athleticism. We go on to their day 2 picks, and I'm starting with Caleb Banks from Florida, the defensive tackle, a guy with a lot of upside here. Somebody that can come onto their defensive line, play a multitude of roles. He has a tremendous wingspan, 35-inch arms. He has a ton of pass rush upside. He needs to get better with his missed tackles. That was a big thing that I saw from Banks a lot on film. But you talk about if he can hone some of that and really work on his overall refinement and getting low as a run defender, this guy could be an elite football player. Then you got Hosea Trotter from Missouri. He's a ferocious player. He just fits the bill, the type of guy that I think Aaron Glenn's going to want as that weak side linebacker to pair along with Demario Davis. Those two, that combination would be pretty fantastic, and they could possibly trade Jamian Sherwood in this case scenario. On to their day 3 selections. I'm starting with Chandler Rivers. The Rivers flow deep here from Duke, coming over to the New York Jets. He's a smaller but feisty corner that is a buttery smooth type of player and certainly can play in that nickel position for the Jets and help them out in that regard to give them some more competition, at least with Jarvis Brownlee Jr. We got Carson Beck. We do take a quarterback here, and this is kind of the value that I like to take one of these quarterbacks. Carson Beck. He took the Hurricanes to the national championship, and he's got really solid arm talent. Not elite arm. He's a solid, accurate quarterback. He has enough, like he can get through his reads and all those sort of things. The decision-making is a big issue for him, and it was certainly showed up for him time and time again. But overall, somebody that you can have in here to be able to develop, and you never know what you have with a guy here who we can take on day 3. We go with Jeremiah Wright, the big, strong offensive lineman from Auburn. Looked really, really strong at the Senior Bowl. He even gave Caleb Banks a couple of really nice reps against him. But you add in Jeremiah Wright to be some more help on the interior and to give them that depth. He has that right guard experience as well, so he could develop behind Joe Timmon if he's not re-signed. You got Le'Veon Moss. We're going to add a nice little backup running back in here to be that 1-2-3 punch type of thing in that room, and just in case of a Hall contract not working out. And then finally, James Brockermeyer from the U. Get Carson Beck's teammate in his center. He can develop behind Josh Myers for a couple seasons. A guy that I think that is a really, really fun player to watch at the Senior Bowl. Came up on my eyes. I'm like, yeah, this dude looks really, really good. And went back to the film. He does get bullied a little bit by these longer arm defenders, and that's probably why he's going to go late in the draft /UDFA, and that's totally fine. He just certainly has great lateral agility and could develop here to be a good, solid depth player and maybe a starter in the future behind Josh Myers. So that's it here for the New York Jets mock draft. Let me know what you think about this mock draft, and feel free to put your mock draft below. I'm very curious to see yours, and I hope you guys have a really good day, and we are going to be rolling with the Arizona Cardinals up next.